So good evening to the webinar on 3 things you need to do to rank on Google. So if you have ever tried to rank on Google search result, you would know how hard it is. And I'm going to show you 3 things you can do that will help you rank higher in Google. And these are relatively easy things you can do. A lot of hard stuff you can do, but these are relatively easy things you can do. But few people do it because they don't know about these things. So let's see what we are going to do in today's webinar. So what are the 3 things we are going to look at? Number 1, how to find high quality keyword with low competition. So one of the tricks to ranking high on Google is to find keywords that bring in good quality traffic but have relatively low competition. What I mean by good quality traffic, it's traffic that is relevant to your site and brings in good quantity of people, good number of people to your site. The second thing we can look at is how you can get 10 or more backlinks in just 2 hours of effort. And the third thing we can look at is how to get backlinks from journalists, right? From people who write for newspapers or professional bloggers and those kind of people. But before we start the session, go into this agenda, I just wanted to take a few minutes and tell you about me. My name is Vishal Srivastav. I've been practicing digital marketing since digital marketing involved ranking on Google, and the only thing you needed to do was get listed in Yahoo directory or a bunch of other simple directories, and you get ranked on Google. So that more number of directories or search engines that you got listed on, and the more links you exchange with people, the higher you rank. And this is about a decade ago. And in these 8 or 10 years, SEO or digital marketing has become very, very complex. There's a lot more competition. Google has become much smarter. So you need to do a lot of different things to make sure you can rank high on Google. And there are also a lot more channels today available in digital marketing other than just ranking on Google. So there's a lot of complexity, a lot of different things you can do. But ranking high on Google still is one of the biggest and most important part of digital marketing. Simply because there are so many people who are searching Google, and if you rank high, you can get very good high quality traffic from Google. So, in the time that I have been working in digital marketing, I worked with startups, I work with authors, I work with larger businesses across higher education, technology, and consumer products and services. A lot of what I share comes from my own learnings doing this work, and also what I've learned from other experts, other people. So, you can't invent everything, you have to learn from others as well. And when we work with companies which are startups and smaller companies which don't have necessarily the kind of resources that large companies have, then you need to find smart ways of achieving the result, because you can't throw money. They just don't have the money. And that's where you find a lot of good, effective things you can do quickly and you can do cheaply. So today what I'm going to talk about is a lot from my own learning, doing all this stuff, for working for small and medium companies and learning tricks that mainstream digital marketers don't use because they don't need to, they've got a lot of money to throw after. So as we go through the webinar, what I suggest is, if you have questions, you can start typing them out in the question box, and I will take breaks through the webinar and try and answer those questions together. So keep shooting your questions. I am not ignoring them if I am not answering. It's just that I want to answer them, a bunch of them together in the interest of managing the flow of the presentation. Okay. So just to wrap up the introduction part, before I got into digital marketing, started doing that. I was a management consultant, worked with KPMG and Deloitte in India and US. I am an MBA from Indian School of Business and an engineer from IIT. And I have been working for last 20 years, and out of which 10 years I've been running my own company. So, I've been doing a lot of work in this area, and hopefully I can pass on some of that, and you'll find that useful tonight. Okay. So I can see some questions coming in. Keep shooting them, and I'll answer them when I take a logical break. So let's start with the simple question: what is SEO, or search engine optimization? Anyone wants to take a stab at it? Anyone wants to answer this question? What is SEO? I'm just trying to get a hang of everybody's background to get an idea about your understanding of SEO and digital marketing. Anyone wants to take a stab? Okay, yes, it is free of cost. It is not, okay, so search engine optimization is not free of cost, but there is money involved in doing SEO, but the traffic you get is free. Shiva, yes, it is partly about getting indexed by Google and ranking well. That's true. Optimizing the search engine to search. Okay, so let me take a couple of minutes to address this thing, because I see a lot of answers which are not exactly what I'm looking for. So this is what happens when you search Google, right? You'll see some ads at the top, you'll see some ads on the right hand side, and then you'll see some search results below these ads in the middle of the page, the box that is marked in orange yellow, right? SEO is about getting listed in this box and about getting listed high in this list. So when you search Google, Google will display 10 results, 10 search results like this, what you see in the box on a page. And SEO is all about getting listed on the first page as high as possible. Okay? So the holy grail of SEO is to get ranked on page 1, preferably in the top 3 or 5 on first page of Google search result. Okay? For the term somebody uses to search Google. For example, here you can see I have searched for online gifting, and this site www.indiangiftportal.com is the site that ranks number 1 for this keyword, online gifting. Okay. Number 2 is archiesonline.com. So the holy grail is, if you're targeting this online gifting is a keyword that your customers might be using to search for your business or your products or your services, then getting ranked on this keyword on page 1 is what you want to do through SEO, right? Search engine optimization. Is everyone able to see the screen? Because somebody had problem seeing the screen. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure it's not a general problem. Okay. Okay, great. So keep asking the your questions, and I will answer them when I take the pause. Okay, so here is another reason why you should rank high on search engine. As you can see, so this chart shows the percent of people who click on search results on Google. So this point here is number 1 ranked search result. It gets about 17 or 18% of the clicks. What this means is, for a given keyword, if 100 people search Google, 17 or 18 of them will click on the first search result. About 10% will click on the second search result. And about 5 will click on, 4.5, 5 will click on the fourth search result. So if you just compare the number of clicks that different search results are getting, the number 4 search result on first page gets only 1/4 or 1/3 of roughly about 1/3 of the clicks that the number 1 result gets. So if you are number 1 on Google search, you are getting 18 clicks for every 100 people who search, and if you are number 4, you get about 5 clicks or 5.5 clicks. So you can see that if you rank high, it results in a lot more traffic. Even on page 1, if you rank on page 1 but you are number 10, out of every 100 people who search, only about 1 or 2 will click on your result. So this is statistical average. Doesn't mean every 10th result gets only 2% click or 1% click. But on an average, this is what you would expect. Which means if you were somehow move from 10th position to first position, you'll start getting 17 extra visitors for the keyword for every 100 people who click. Right? So that's a whole lot of traffic that you can get for free from Google, right? And that's the value of search engine optimization, and that's why people spend so much time and money getting it done. But how does Google determine which page should rank 1, which should rank 2, or which should rank 100? So if now Google does not disclose its algorithm. Nobody knows what is exactly happening in Google's algorithms, how it is ranking. But over the years, a lot of people have tried to understand that. People have done a lot of research and experiment, and Google has disclosed some information, limited amount of information to help people with their SEO. So if you put everything together, Google uses about 200 different factors to rank your page. 200 different factors. 28% of these factors deal with on-page optimization, which means how you have structured your page, what is the content you have written, what is the keyword you have written, how you have structured the page, how you have, if you use the image or a video, is that optimized for search? Those kind of things. 19% weightage is given to site-wide trust or authority. What this means is your website has certain trust or authority based on the number of other sites that link to it, based on how old it is, and a lot of other factors. Those things together, so the quality of your site has about 20% impact on where your page ranks, okay, on the ranking of your page. About 15% weightage is given to the quality and quantity of page-specific backlinks. Backlinks are nothing but other pages across the site that provide a link to your page, or they link to your page. So when you're reading a page on internet, you will see a lot of HTML links linking to other pages, right? And this is about those links. The more number of sites that link to your page, the higher your page will rank in search results. And today we are going to look at this 15% quality and quantity of page-specific backlinks. So we are going to be focusing on this part. The 13% anchor text or backlink profile, it is basically how that a link, when a page links to your website or a page on your site, what words it uses to describe your link, the link that points to your site, is the anchor text. Okay, 13% on how much your content gets shared on social media like Facebook, Twitter, etc. and then there's some technical and issues that account for the rest of the 12%. But if you see, majority of the factor deal with, about 28% is how you write your page, and then if you add 15% and 13% deal, so 28% deal with the backlinks or sites that link to your page, right? So together these two are the big factors. And once a lot of pages on your site start attracting links from other pages, other websites, the site-wide trust starts to go up, and it starts to influence the ranking of every page on the site. In the beginning, your site-wide trust is low because no other site links to you. It's a new site, no other site knows about you, nobody links to your site. So I'll take a small pause here and I'll try and answer questions. Okay, so the first question that I see here, Akhilesh. Okay, so the question is, if you host your site in cloud like Azure, how do you create backlinks for Google search results? Is the same way. Whether it does not matter where you host your site, whether it is hosted in Azure cloud or on a traditional hosting environment, your site always has a address, a IP address that identifies its location on the web, and it has a URL that people type in the address bar of the browser to get to your site. So once you have the URL, the domain, your site live, you have the domain and you have the IP address. So any other site can link to your site. It does not matter where it is hosted. But if you are using for domain forwarding, right? So you are using your site as a subdomain or say azurewebsites.net. In that case, your website will be, so if let's say your website domain is ABC, then you host it as a subdomain on Azure, then it will be abc.azurewebsites.net, in which case, let's say there is a page called About Us, then its address will be abc.azurewebsites.net/abc.html or whatever. And that is the page you will link, that's the link you will use to build backlinks. And the ranking will be for your subdomain. So your site is essentially a subdomain on Azure website, and pages from your site will show up as a page on the subdomain abc.azurewebsites.net. Okay, that's how the SEO will work. But if you are serious about building a website, you will not forward your domain, you will host your domain. Okay, so if you are serious about building an online presence, host your site on your own domain, not on a subdomain of another hosting like azurewebsites.net. Okay, and you can do that easily if you if you have a paid account on Azure, you can have your custom domain. You use this domain forwarding as a subdomain only if you are using a free hosting from Azure website, right? So switch to a paid account, get your own domain, and this should be fine. Okay. Okay, next question is, how does a company earn money by getting traffic on their site? Well, when you get traffic to your site, it's much like getting traffic into a store, right? You go to a store, you see, unless people walk into a store, nobody can buy. Same stuff. Unless people come to your website, nobody can buy. So when you bring people to your site, you get traffic to your site, and you have good products to sell, and you optimize your site so people, to make it easy for people to buy and find information about your product. You write copy that looks trustworthy so people can trust your site, they will buy, and that is how you make money, right? You can also make money by showing people advertisement. So that's how a lot of content sites, news sites or blog sites make money. They bring in people, they show them ad, and they get paid by the advertisers. So that's another way you can make money. But advertising works only for very large websites which have millions of views every month. If your website gets few thousand views a month or even couple of 100,000 views a month, you can't earn much money from advertising. Okay. So you have to sell a product, either your own product or you can take an affiliate product and sell from your site. Okay, I'm just scrolling through the list of questions here. Okay, so there is a very good question by Wahida. If many sites do SEO with same keyword, then who will decide which one ranks first? So Wahida, this screen that you see is how it is decided. So there are two pages, they are both optimized for the same keyword. Which one will rank higher? It depends on which one has done this, has taken care of the factors better. Okay, which one has more backlinks, which one is better page optimization, which one is coming from, which one is hosted on a more authoritative website. All of these things have a role to play. Okay, and all of these things together decide which one will rank higher, which one will rank lower. Saurabh, I would love to explain on-page optimization, but since today's class is only, this webinar is only 1 hour, I need to make sure that I cover what I intend to cover, what the webinar is about. So I don't think I'll have time to cover on-page optimization factors today. Achilles, ranking factors are slightly different for Bing because it uses a different algorithm. But you have to if you do the fundamentals right in terms of on-page optimization and getting backlinks and those stuff, it will work for Bing as well as Google. Domain name, Rishabh, domain name plays a role because the domain name, if it has a keyword, then it will have impact on the search ranking. Okay, if the domain name or the URL of the page has the keyword included in the URL, then it does help in ranking the page higher. Siddhanshu, that's right. Social graph metrics relate to instances mentioned through social media posts. So you share something on Facebook, people will like, people will comment on it, people will share with their friends, and that generates the social graph that we're talking about. .com, .in are ranked similarly. Only thing is .in gets priority in India specific searches and may lose out on the global search because Google might think that it is targeted at India. So backlinks, what are backlinks? Backlinks are all over the web. If you look at any web page, it will have a hyperlink. You click on that hyperlink, it takes you to another page, and that is the backlink. So in the center, here is your page. There are 3 other websites which are pages which link to your page. So these are incoming links called backlinks. This site 4 and 5 also have pages that link to you. So these are 2 additional backlinks. So this page at the center of the page has got 5 sites which link to it. So it has got 5 backlinks. Okay. Your ranking depends on how many backlinks you get for the page and where these links are coming from. How high ranking these sites are. If site 1 is very high ranking in Google search results, then a link from site 1 will help your page rank much higher compared to site 3 which has a lower rank in search results. Then this link will have less influence on your search ranking. Okay, so if you get, so to simplify it, if you get a link from say CNN.com versus you get a link from Vishal.com, a link that comes from CNN.com will help your site rank higher compared to a link that comes from Vishal.com. The link from Vishal.com will also help, but not to the same extent that the CNN.com. So if you have to prioritize on getting links from high authority or more popular or bigger websites. Okay. So getting backlinks is one of the most fundamental ways to increase your search engine result. And in the past, it was very easy. You could exchange links. You could do a lot of there are a lot of link farms and all of those stuff that was going around. Google has become much smarter, so Google is looking at links which are relevant, links that are not purchased, and links that really add value. But if you are looking for quality backlinks, so you approach another site which you think is good for linking to your site, why should they link to you? Right? Because that site may already be ranking higher, your site may be ranking lower. Why should they rank to you, link to you? So you have, as the SEO person, it's your job to show to the other guy what is in it for them. You have to demonstrate the value of linking to your page to another guy so they will link to your page. Right? And how you do that? First of all, you find the right keyword, and second, you find sites who you should link to and then get links from them. So let me show you one tool which you can use to find keywords for your site, for your content. This tool is called Soovle. Let me just demonstrate. So this is soovle.com. Can everyone see my screen now? You should be seeing soovle.com, not the PowerPoint slide. Okay, great. So soovle.com is a tool that shows you related keywords for any term you enter. So if I just enter online gifting, something that I had showed you earlier, the search results, I just typed online gifting and it is showing me all these keywords that Google has. So people are using to search on Google. It is showing all these keywords which people are using to search on Bing. It is also showing you Amazon.com. So online gifting is also a term people use on Amazon.com. And these are the terms people are using on Yahoo. So as you can see, this one tool shows you what are the related keywords to the main keyword that people are using on different sites. So if your site is about online gifting, you come to Soovle, you give it one keyword, and it shows you all the different keywords people are using to search. Now, not all of these keywords may make sense to you, but some of them will. So Google has a tool called Keyword Planner that everybody in the world uses to find keywords related to their website. And it works pretty much the same way. You enter the main keyword and it shows you how many people are searching for it in your target geography, whether it is city or state or country. It shows you other related keywords to the keyword that you just entered that people are using to search the web, right? But the problem with keyword tool is a great tool, but the problem is it shows the same result to everybody, right? And everybody knows about keyword planner. Everybody who is doing SEO is using the tool. So you don't have any advantage over others because everybody is the same information. Everybody is working with the same information. And that is where these tools like Soovle become important because very few people know about it. So you come here, you enter the primary keyword, you get a list of keywords, then you click on this download arrow, you click on this and it downloads you can see it has downloaded. So it downloads the list of keywords and then what you do is take each of these keywords, go to Google Keyword Planner and see how much traffic each of these keywords are getting, how much competition is there for each of these keywords, and then you can decide whether this keyword is something you want to focus on for SEO. For example, you might find that the keyword does not have enough traffic, maybe only 10 people in a month search for it, in which case it's not really relevant for you. But if you find that the keyword has maybe 200 search volume, 200 people are searching, or maybe 2,000 people are searching, then it's worth spending time on doing SEO. And then you look at the competition and say how strong is the competition, and Keyword Planner will show you how strong the competition is for the keyword, and you can decide, okay, whether you want, if the keyword has too much competition, then you may want to stay away from it because it will be difficult for you to rank. If the keyword does not have a very high competition, you can, and has a decent search volume, then you can use it to for your SEO. But the cool thing is you are getting related keywords from different places, and therefore you get a lot more keyword ideas than what you would get from Keyword Planner. There's another way to get the same, a list of keywords that are related to your primary product or primary keyword, which is to go to Google and search Google. I'm sure all of you use Google a few times a day for searching. So when you search, this is what you get. You get a bunch of ads and you get some search results. And then if you scroll down this page, at the bottom you will see searches related to online gifting. So showing us the related searches which are related to the term I just used. I used online gifting, and if I scroll down, then Google is telling me these are other keywords that people are using to search. And some of these keywords may appear in Google Keyword Planner, some of them may not, depending on how closely Google thinks the ideas are related. So you don't always get this information you are getting on this page in Google Keyword Planner. So you can see there are 8 related keywords Google is showing. Take these 8 keywords and then put them in Google Keyword Planner and see what kind of traffic you are getting, what kind of competition these keywords have. And then you can identify some keywords that you can target. On an average, when I do this research for clients, we generally will find 8 to 10 keywords which are very unique and easy to target and will bring in decent amount of traffic. Every time we manage to get 8 or 10 keywords for any kind of client, which basically is telling me that very few people are using these tools, because if they are using, then they'll have found these keywords and they'll be trying to optimize, and then the competition will be high. But it looks like people are not doing that. So these two things, if you just by using this tool and using this simple Google help at the bottom of the search page, you can actually identify some keywords which are really easy to rank on and can bring in some good amount of traffic. So the another tool called Google Trends. So if you search Google for Google Trends, you will get this tool, Google Trends. And Google Trends is much like normal Google search is showing you trending stories in India. So if I search with the same keyword, online gifting, it shows such volume trend, and it will also show some related keywords. So you can see interest over time in the keyword starting 2000 up to 2000 September 2008. Nobody was searching for online gifting in India, and then suddenly the volume shot up from 0, it went to 50, right? And then it has gone up and down, and it peaked December 2013. You can see the chart. So it's showing you that if you look at the trend overall, it might be going up and down, but the overall trend from year to year is actually increasing. So one thing it tells you is that if you optimize for keyword in future, you will keep getting good increasing amount of traffic because the traffic for the keyword is increasing. So that's good to know. And as you scroll down, it shows you some of the related queries people are using, some of the search terms people are using on Google. So this is another tool that gives you some related queries that you may not get from Keyword Planner. Okay, so there are two things, top and rising. So Rising means these are the terms which have started to become popular. Top is these are the keywords which are popular today. So rising keywords, rising basically means these keywords are just beginning to become popular. So many of these may not have competition and may not have very large traffic, but maybe for the next few months or a couple of years, these keywords will have good traffic. So what you need to do is take these keywords, go to Google Keyword Planner, and see if the current volume justifies and the rate of growth justifies, targeting them in your SEO. Okay, so these are the three things you can use for your keyword, finding the right kind of keyword to target. So that's your step one, finding the right keyword. I just showed you the Google method. So the first step of good SEO is to find the right keyword that you want to target, right? Because if you find the right keyword, then you can get the traffic. If you target the wrong keyword, where either the traffic is not there, the competition is very high, then you will not get the result. You will not be able to rank your page high enough and quickly enough. Okay, so that's about finding the keyword. So once you have found the keyword, now you want to get backlinks. You have found the keyword you want to optimize for. You created some pages on your website which are targeting those keywords. Now you want to get some backlinks. And one of the easiest and coolest ways of getting backlink is this site called scoop.it. Okay, scoop.it is a site where you can come and curate content. Okay, what do you mean by curating content? This is a site where people come and they create their magazines. Okay, so what Scoopit does is it finds information on different topics. It keeps collecting information from sites around the world, Twitter, Facebook, and blogging sites, and you can take somebody else's stuff and create a magazine like this. Okay, so these are somebody else's content. You say, so this, you just come here and create a magazine, give it a name, give it a topic, select a topic, give it a name, and create a magazine, and then you start finding content and you keep adding it to your magazine. Every time you add a piece of content to your magazine, it creates a backlink from scoop.it to that site. So for example, this particular article is from digitaljournal.com. So when we included this particular piece in this magazine on scoop.it, it has created a backlink to this site digitaljournal.com, this particular page on digitaljournal.com. Okay, so one of the things you do is you come, you create your account, you set up your magazine in the area you want. So let's say you are talking about gifting, online gifting, so you create a page, gifting magazine, and you'll start adding pages from your site to your magazine, and you'll create one backlink. But that is just one. I told you 10, right? You can get 10 backlinks in 2 hours of work. How do you get 10? So what you do is you find other magazines in that same niche or same topic. So you click on the three bars and it shows you all in lots of different categories where magazines have been created. People are creating these magazines or curating content. So you find that category where it fits in. Maybe it's in. You can, if you don't see that category here, you can search. So I type gifting and say gifting ideas. If I'm just selecting, I'm searching for gifting ideas. So this is a magazine on gifting ideas curated by Puranendu Sharma. So this gentleman has got these articles collected and put him on this magazine. Now what I can do is, if I have an online gifting site and I have a cool gift, I can come here and click on this suggest. Now I can click on this box. I can paste my link here. So let us say I want to build a link to my page on my site, and this is the URL of the page. So what I do is I copy paste or type in the URL to my page for which I want a backlink, and I click on suggest. So when I click on suggest, Mr. Purnendu will get an alert that somebody has suggested a page or an article you should include in this magazine called Gifting Ideas. Purnendu will look at the link and then decide whether he wants to include in his magazine or not. If he includes it in the magazine, it will create a backlink for your site. Right? As simple as that. Now you might think, why would Purnendu include it, right? Purnendu is creating content from different sites. He is looking for good, solid content that he can curate that others will come and look at. Now this particular magazine doesn't have too many views. It has got only 1 view, but there are lots of other magazines. So let me take you, for example, if I go to digital marketing, and you can see that there are so many different magazines coming here. You can click on the recommended topics and it will show you. So these are the different topics or magazines people have curated in digital marketing. If you hover mouse over it, you can see this particular magazine has got 263,000 views, 385 views today. So what you need to do is find magazines which have good amount of views, because links from these magazines will be more valuable than links from magazines which don't have views. Also, if your page gets listed in this magazine, then you can see that 385 people who read this magazine today, some of them might get interested in your product and click and go over to your site. So even if 10% of people go over to your site, you're talking about about 30 or 40 people coming to your site in a day without you having to do anything. The only thing you did was found this magazine, clicked on it, came here, and then you suggested the link to this magazine. That's all you did, nothing else, right? Because these people who are making this magazine, they are interested in getting good quality content so that people will find their magazines interesting and they'll come and read the magazine. Okay. So when you suggest a good quality link, people generally tend to include it in their magazine or in their topic. So the first thing is, you cannot promote junk stuff here. Okay. The page on your site that you're trying to suggest to others must be good quality, must be worth, if somebody includes, it should be good enough because that guy is including in his magazine. But if the page is good and you send requests to about 25 people, 10 or 12 of them will end up linking back to you, including that link in their magazine, and you will be able to get that link back. How much time it takes to find 25 such linkable topics or magazines? Maybe 15-20 minutes. You come, you search with the topic, you see the list, hover over, you see which ones you want to link to, click, go over, suggest the link. In 2 hours, you can easily suggest link to about 20-25 people on Scoop it. And if you suggest it to 20-25 people, you can expect about 8 or 10 out of them will accept your link, include in their magazine, and you would have got 8 or 10 backlinks to your page. Cool, isn't it? 2 hours, 8 or 10. There are very few other ways of building links which work so fast, and because Scoopit gets a lot of traffic, remember Scoopit is very popular. At an aggregate level, it gets millions of views a month. So Scoopit site authority, it's a very well respected site. So a link from Scoopit has a lot of value on search ranking of your page. Right? So if you get good, several links from Scoopit, is going to help a lot. The only thing you need to remember is don't keep suggesting the same link. If you suggest a link and somebody ignores, don't go back and suggest a second time. They might report you for spamming. Second, do not suggest to the same, keep suggesting new links every day to the same guy. He will get irritated, right? So what you want to make sure is in your topic, find 20, 30, 40, 50 topics or magazines you would like to suggest to. Every week suggest to, maybe you get one article, you suggest it to 20, 25. Then after 2 or 3 weeks, when you get a new article, suggest it to another 20, 30 people. That way, you don't end up suggesting every topic to the same guy every week or every day, right? Because if you start doing that, then people will think, you are playing a game. You're spamming them, or you're getting, you're doing this SEO stuff, and you'll not get as many links back. So if you just keep your recommendation, the suggestions to maybe once in 15 days, you'll get a very good response rate. And I generally find that this is one of the easiest ways to get very high quality backlink for any site, any kind of site. So, okay, finally, getting links from journalists. Before I start that, I'll just see if I got any questions that I can answer, or I need. I'm just looking through the list of comments and questions to look for things that are questions and not comments. On Google AdSense, okay. I use Google AdSense is not some in scope of this webinar. It's a big topic, but I'll just give you an overview. Google AdSense is an advertising program where Google pays you to run ads on your site, and every time somebody clicks on those ads, Google will pay you something. Okay, and the way Google decides what ad to run on your site is basically based on the content on your site. So Google will index your site, figure out what is the keyword, or what is the kind of content on your site, and then decide which ad is relevant to people who are coming to your site based on the content of the site. And then it will show those matching ads on the on your site. And if somebody clicks on it, goes over to advertise your site, then you get paid some money. That's in a nutshell what AdSense is. Okay, I think I answered the domain question. socialgraph.com.in. Okay, we did that. Okay, Ayush, it does not matter how you register your site. Once you register your site, you make your site live, then you need to make sure that you have the right, you're targeting the right keyword, you have to write content, high quality content that other sites will want to link to, and then you start link building, and if you get enough links, your site will start ranking. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else to SEO. Okay, but yes, there is a lot of work and thinking and research and techniques involved in how you find the right keyword, how you create the right kind of content, and how you go about building links. Because building links is becoming more and more difficult, right? Because of the Google's sophistication and because of sites' reluctance to link easily to other sites. So, great question, Saurabh. Keywords which are competitive are also the keywords that more users use to search Google. And in some cases that is true, in some cases that is not true. Mostly if a keyword has high search volume, it most likely will have high competition. unless it happens to be a very branded keyword, in which case other brands don't really care about it, other competitors. But if a particular keyword has a lot of people searching for it, yes, competition will be high. But competition can also be high for some keywords which don't have a lot of keyword traffic, because a lot of people think that's a keyword that is very relevant to the product. So a lot of people will be competing for that keyword, and the competition will be high. So your job is to look for keywords which don't have a lot of competition and have decent search volume, decent number of people searching. And what you need, so let's say there's a keyword, I'm just taking this online gifting example again. Let's say online gifting is very competitive and there are 10,000 people searching for it per month in India. So 10,000 is a lot of people, but the competition is very high, which means it might take you months to rank, if ever you get to rank on page 1 on Google. Okay. So should you give up? No, you should keep trying, but you should also be realistic about the time and effort it will take to rank. So you do all the stuff on Sooply and Google Trends, and you find 7 or 8 keywords which have low competition and individually have 200, 300, 400 search volume. But together those 7 or 8 keywords have 2 or 3,000 search volume, because individually they have 300, 400. If you aggregate across 7, 8 or 10 keywords, that becomes 2 to 3,000 searches, right? So you find 3,000 searches which are low competition, and then you start targeting those 7 or 8 or 10 keywords you found, because it will be relatively easy for you to rank on them and start getting traffic for those keywords. Okay, and you start building backlinks, so it's easy for you to get backlinks for those keywords. You start ranking quicker, you start getting traffic. As you build link, your site authority, your site quality starts to improve, which means now it will be easier for you to get links for more competitive keywords. So it will become easier for you to rank on more competitive keywords. And while you keep working on ranking on more competitive keywords, in the meantime, these 2,000-3,000 searches start bringing you some volume, right? So that's how you play this game. Okay, next question, looking at, okay, how do related keywords increase website or blog search priority? See, keyword ranking is for a specific keyword. It doesn't, if you rank high for one keyword, doesn't mean that you will rank high for related keyword. Okay, you have to target each keyword separately. SEO is free. SEO is not paid. In the sense that you have to spend money, time, effort to get ranked. But once your site starts ranking, you don't have to pay Google for sending traffic to your site. Right? It's free. Sort of, you're not using. So there's no copyright infringement, because when you create these magazines on ScoopIt, because you are not taking credit. All you are doing is you are putting it together for people to read from different sources. You're not taking credit for writing that stuff. The credit still goes to the original author. If you look at any article, so if you go to any magazine on ScoopIt and you look at this, it says scooped by Alexander Bopasso, but if you look at this particular piece, it is from the nextweb.com, right? So this guy is not stealing the content, he is just sharing the content, okay? And that is why it is not copyright infringement, okay? So the reference is being given, proper credit and reference is being provided to the original owner. Since this is standard process for every website, how do you make sure you rank high? Samir, that is the game, right? So one is to find the right keywords for which the competition is less, so you can rank easily. The second, keep finding new ways of getting links. Okay, So one of the best ways is to create content and then make sure that people can link to the content. For example, using ScoopIt, right? And other ways of there are several other ways of creating backlinks, but a fundamental thing behind all of that is you have to create good quality content that other people want to link to, because when they provide a link from their site to your site and a reader clicks on the link, the reader comes to your site, he sees a good quality content, and it increases the value of the site that links to you. So if your content is crappy, nobody will want to link to you. Okay, one more question is, does Google still use meta tag for keyword finding from a website? No, the meta keyword tag is no longer used by Google because people started spamming it. So that keyword still, that tag is still there, but it doesn't have any impact on ranking. So Rishabh, everybody uses, every company uses the standard ways of listing, and that is why all this, we keep finding this new ways. So I'm doubtful any of the big companies use ScoopIt to build links. Okay, they're much rather spend money than spend time researching and finding ways of getting high quality links easily. Okay, it's a resource versus time versus money play that is always going on. Okay, so you find people like us find new ways because we are we are always looking for new ways. We find new ways, we share it online, then some other people start using. Then today's ScoopIt is not not a lot of people know about it for using it as a backlink, but I'm sure in a year's time, 2 years time, a lot of people will be using it, and then this will lose its value. Okay, but till such time you're using it, and then when it loses its value, you find something else that works, right? So you don't work with one thing, you work with multiple strategies, multiple tactics. ScoopIt happens to be one of them. It's quick, it's fast, and it's easy, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Okay, let's look at one more tactic, which is getting links from journalists. So journalist links typically are very high value because they typically come from big websites. For example, if a Wall Street Journal article links to your site, it brings a lot of traffic from Wall Street site to your site, and it helps your site rank higher because Wall Street Journal is a very heavy website, a very authoritative website. But a journalist on wallstreetjournal.com would not want to link to your site easily. Okay, so how do you get them to link? So the traditional way is that you find popular bloggers or journalists in your domain or your niche, you reach out to them, build a relationship, and then pitch your story to them, and hopefully they will like it and they'll cover it. Okay, so that's how it works. Or you spend a lot of money, you hire a PR agency, spend a lot of money, the PR agencies will work on the journalist and get you some story out. Okay, so for example, in India you can spend about 2 lakh a year and get 2 or 3 stories out in news media, in popular news media, covering your company. Okay, in US, it's the same story, only the money, the amount changes, right? But it's the same game. You spend a lot of money, then you can get people to write about you. The other way is to use a site called helpareporter.com. HARO is the short form. Helpareporter.com is the full is the website. HARO is the abbreviation everybody uses in the industry. It's a very well-known site actually, but very few people use it effectively. HARO is a place where journalists come looking for experts. Okay, so any journalist or blogger, when they're writing a story, remember that they are not an expert on everything, right? They're journalists or writers. They're not technologists. They're not marketers. Right? They're not innovators. So when they're writing stories, they need experts to quote in their story to make their story look, credible. And finding experts for them is as difficult as finding a good journalist is for you. So HARO acts like a middleman. When a journalist wants to write a story, he or she will come to helpareporter.com, create a brief. I am writing a story for this particular outlet. This is the tracks of the story. I'm looking for experts who have some knowledge in this area, and they list out few questions that you answer. You as an expert register with journalist, submits a request for an expert, you will receive an email. So Haro will send you an email twice a day, in the morning, in the evening US time, and it arrives in your inbox, and this is how it looks. So these are the 7 queries that journalists have got in, and let me see which one is this. This is technology queries, right? High tech queries, morning edition. So you get an email like that, and these are the 7 queries from journalists. Science of hair dryer, what is the most important thing to look for when comparing data classification tools? So they are different. So there's a story called most significant digital changes in past decade. You click on it, you go down, and you see what the story is about. So it's being written by a guy called Alison Hoven for a website magazine. And this is the question: what is the most significant digital development in the past 10 years, and how has it changed how your business operates? If you want to answer this question, let's say you are a retailer, and your niche retailer, you were offline and now you have become online, and you're using maybe even mobile to sell. You can respond with your story. You click on this. The way you respond is you click on this and it opens. You put in the subject, you put the query name. From here you put this title. This is what you'll put in the query, and you respond. So everything works through email, and then you send, and the journalist gets your pitch. So journalist might get pitch from several people, and she will go through it. In this case, Alison will go through it and figure out which ones he likes and wants to include, and then he will let you know, okay, I'm writing the story, I'm going to include it. And when he includes your quote in his story, when he publishes on Website Magazine, he is going to provide a link back to your site. This is how there's a common structure, right? So they'll put your name, and they'll either link to your Twitter profile, or they'll link to your website, whatever you want. So normally they'll ask you, what do you want me to link to? You can tell whether you want to link to a Twitter profile or to your website, and they'll include a link. So if a journalist includes you in the story, you get a backlink from there, because your link to your site is included in the story, and you also get a lot of traffic from that, because the story, once it goes out on the website, in this case a Website Magazine, that site will have few thousand readers who come to the site every month or every day. They read the story, they look at the link, they click on the link, and they'll come over to your site. So you'll also get a lot of free traffic this way. You get a backlink, and you also build your reputation. Once you get quoted by 5-10 different journalists on 5-10 different websites, it builds up your reputation. The next time you pitch, you say, I have been quoted by these 5 different websites, and the receiving journalist will think you are an expert. It just builds up the value of your quote, and you start getting more and more quotes, right? So once you start, the initial ones are a little difficult to get. Once you start getting first 3 or 4, then it snowballs. Then you can keep getting 3 or 4 quotes every month if you pitch regularly. All you do is take out 15 minutes in a day, go through the email. If you find a story that you want to pitch to, spend another 15-20 minutes responding to it, and that's it. And if you send out about 20 responses in a month, you will get 4 or 5 coverage in the month. So you're getting 4 or 5 high quality links, you're getting a lot of traffic, and you're building your reputation. Okay? And so this is a very, very effective, and it's all free. There's no money involved here, right? It works really well for small companies. The reason big companies don't spend time on Haro is because they can hire a big PR agency and spend money and get the coverage, right? If you're a small or medium company, or you don't want to spend that kind of money, big money on PR, you can come to Haro and you can get a lot of coverage. The only limitation right now for Haro, if you are an Indian company, is that Indian press coverage is small. There are not a whole lot of Indian reporters who are going there. A lot of Indian bloggers are going to Haro, and they're getting, so you'll get a lot of coverage on blogs or from professional bloggers through Haro, but you won't get coverage on, for example, Times of India or Hindustan Times or those kind of websites. Okay, at least in India. In US, you can get Inc.com, Forbes. I've got people covered on, I've seen my clients get quoted by WSJ. I have got myself quoted on Verizon.com, which is a very large company, on the small business section. I have got quoted on Inc.com. I've seen people get quoted on Forbes.com, all through HARO. Okay, so for US website, it works really well. And all of those links, even if you get a link back from Forbes or Wall Street or some US website, the link counts, right? Google does not discriminate between India link and US link. You get a link, it helps your SEO. It also gets you visibility and credibility. The only thing is, it's a US website and you're only selling to India. The traffic you get may not be very relevant from sales point of view. Okay. So I can see that there are also some questions that have come in. Let me just take them. So Ayush has a question. This means it's all about searching keywords. Yes, Ayush. So the SEO is not just about, it's not about your domain. It's about the content and the keyword. Okay. Your domain could be anything, but ideally your domain would be about your company or your brand or about your product or service, right? But it is the content on your site that drives the traffic, not your domain. Yes, Anthony. More traffic will mean you get to show more ads, and the more people that see ads, the more likely that someone will click and you'll make money. But I have not seen people make a lot of money using AdSense. It only works on the margin for a small site. It's easy to set up, but you cannot make a lot of money. A much better idea, if you want to make money from traffic and you don't have anything to sell, is to go find a product you can sell as an affiliate, and you'll get affiliate commission, which is going to be a lot more than what Google is ever going to pay. For example, if you sign up with Amazon.com as an affiliate, you will get 4% commission on everything that somebody buys from Amazon if they click on a link to Amazon from your site. Somebody comes to your site, clicks on a banner ad that is promoting a banner that's promoting a product on Amazon.com, lands up on Amazon.com, buys that product or something else, let's say for 1,000 rupees or $100, you'll get 4% as a commission from Amazon for that purchase. Okay. So somebody buys for 1,000 rupees, you get 4% is 40 rupees, or $100 you get $4. If compare the same thing to an ad, if instead of affiliate link it was just an ad being displayed by another merchant on your site through AdSense, somebody clicked on it, went to that site, you might get 2 cents or 3 cents of at most. Okay, so you won't get much money from that. Okay, so if you don't have a traffic in millions, AdSense will not work for you in terms of making money. Okay, Santosh, the reason so everybody who is building a magazine on Scoop.it is looking for good content that they can include in the magazine, and it's a lot of work building the magazine because you have to search through content, find good quality content to include, right? So people spend a lot of time finding good content. So if you go and suggest a good content to them that is worthy of being in the magazine, they'll be more than delighted to include it. It saves their time, right? So that's why people include it. And that is why I'm saying you only suggest pages from your site which is really high quality, good content, right? And then people will include because it increases the value of their magazine, it saves them time, it really helps them. If the content is not good, then they'll not include it. It doesn't help them. Okay, great. So let me go back to the presentation here, and okay, so I just showed you the helperreporter.com. So any questions, any more questions on either helperreporter.com, Scoopit or Soovle or anything that you want to ask me? We are already over our limit, so we'll no. If there are no questions, I'll wrap it up. I cannot mail you the slides, Rishabh, unfortunately. I'm not sure the I think the webinar might be available on Edureka website, but unfortunately I cannot mail the slides. We want you to attend the webinar, not get it for free, okay? We want you to spend some time attending the webinar. Okay. Yeah, Anthony, yeah, take it. You can check and come back, and you can also check if the recording is there. You can check that, and if you are more if you are interested in pursuing digital marketing, either for your website or the career, you want to learn more about it, you should also check out our digital marketing course on Edureka that I teach. And if you like the webinar, if you think this is useful, you might find that the course is also going to be very useful to you. If you're interested in digital marketing, learning about it. Okay. So I don't see any new questions coming in. So I'll wrap up the session. We are already over time. And wish you all a great week ahead. Thank you for taking time out and attending the webinar. Ayush, what is the question you asked? There's so many comments coming in. Okay, it's about the keyword. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So it's you can have any domain you want. People are searching for keywords. They're not searching for your domain, right? So it's about, yeah, you don't have to provide link of your site to your reader. What you do is you create a magazine and then you add the link from your site to your magazine, and Scoopit will pull in the content from the site and create a review like we saw. I think it was, yeah. So when you include a link from your site in your magazine, this is the preview it will create. If there's any image on that page, it will pull in the image, it will pull in a summary, and it will pull in a link to your site. Okay. And then somebody wants to read, they click on it, it will take them to your site. Just like I came to this site. Anybody who clicks on the article on this summary is interested and wants to read this article, clicks on it, take him to your website. Okay. So you don't individually, you add the link in the magazine, and then Scoopit pulls in the details, images, and title and everything from the page. Rishabh, it doesn't matter what the domain is, whether it is in or com or org. It depends on the quality of the website, what is the content, and how many backlinks there are. LinkedIn is not, it is not an ad, it is called a preview, right? So it is more of a preview, not an ad. It's a preview to the page on your website. Okay. Anthony, I think you can send queries to Edureka support. I think that's the thing, but you can send. Here's the thing. So we take the webinar. It's a free webinar. We want people to attend, and we'll love to answer your questions. But there are only so many I can take in the time, and I really am not going to be answering any extra queries that come in afterwards, because I keep, if I start doing that, then it's going to eat up all my time, right? I also need to run my business. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to be taking dozens of questions that come in. So that's why I answer questions during the webinar and not outside the webinar. But yeah, when people enroll in the program, in the course, then we have these webinars. People ask questions during the webinars, and of course they have access to me outside of the class. So they send me question on LinkedIn or through email, and we talk. Sometimes I also give people time on phone. So many times a lot of people who are doing the course have business and they want to discuss specific topics. So many times I give them time over phone to discuss. So we chat and help them solve specific problems about their business related to digital marketing. But that's something I do for people who are attending the course. Not I can't take that much time out for everybody who attends the webinar. So I'm sorry about that, but that's where it is. Okay. So I can see we are way over time now, and I'll like to wrap up the class. So again, thank you very much for attending the webinar, and wish you a great week ahead. Bye.